Jack Peter Grealish. Peggy Jack. Technically gifted, nimble, low center of gravity, a pure bliss to watch. What all football fans love to see. But football, not soccer, just doesn't love him back at the moment. A quote from Pep. We didn't sign Grealish for goals and assists. So what then? Is he a flop or are we football fans just being harsh again? Let's have a chat about it.
Yo, what's up? And it's Bobby. And yeah, I was kind of watching the Manchester City versus Wolves match, and I've got thoughts. So obviously, Jack Grealish is one of my favorite players in the EPL. I just like the way he plays, and I wouldn't have minded him to play for, my team. But the world doesn't work like that. You don't always get what you want. And with that being said, let's talk about Grealish. Is he is he a flop? Is he not a flop? Is he doing well at City? What is this Jack Grealish guy all about? So yeah, let's get into it. So firstly, is Jack Grealish a flop at Manchester City? Well, Pep recently came out and he said that we didn't sign Grealish for goals or assists. So that makes him just a passer and a dribbler for vibes. My man is a winger. Bruv, when you buy a winger, you expect at least assists or goals. Especially in this modern era, wingers literally score a lot of goals. They score more than strikers. And Grealish isn't really doing all that much. Last season, he had only 3 goals and 3 assists in the Premier League alone. I'm not gonna kind of involve. Okay, I'll put the Champions League goals on the side because I don't have them. And with that being said, that's vastly very low compared to what Phil Foden actually has. Now, does that make? And mind you, Phil Foden was not bought. He's a youth development player, and Jack Grealish was born for £100 million. That is a lot of money for a player. And that kind of helps me to go into the next thing, his role. What is Jack Grealish's role at Manchester City? What is he supposed to do? So at Aston Villa, at his tenure at Aston Villa, from youth developer up until he started playing for like the senior team, Jack Grealish used to play as a more for free roaming 8, and obviously when Dean Smith came, he started playing him more as a left winger, which we saw some incredible performances from Jack Grealish. But then that comes also plays into the fact that he's more of a midfielder than actually a winger. For me personally, I feel like he plays his best football when he's like free roaming, and he's not really like a winger in that type of a vibe. And I've always thought that if he could play with De Bruyne in that midfield 3, him, Grealish, and De Bruyne and Rodri as a 3 will probably work. But there's a problem with that, because that means that you're now going to be removing. Where will you play Bernardo Silva? Because in my case, Bernardo Silva is a far better player than Grealish is when he plays in that 8 role, or you can say as a pair of 2 both 10s. He plays better in that role. So you've got a problem now. You don't have a left winger that is as good as Grealish, that is as good as Mahrez. So you have to play Grealish on that left side. Well, Sterling is not there anymore, so you can't have a free spot now. So he is a left winger. Now when you compare him with other left wingers, it becomes a little bit tricky, because you look at Heung-min Son, he literally won the Golden Boot last season. Look at Sadio Mane, he was literally up and about with the goals. Even though Marcus Rashford is quote-unquote shite, he's still outscoring Jack Grealish and has even more Premier League goals than Grealish will ever wish to have. So it comes back to, what is he? And what is Jack Grealish in another term? Which is kind of mad. So for me, I feel like Jack Grealish plays his best football when he's in this kind of a vibe of of a team that allows him to do what he wants, like at Aston Villa. Pep's sides are amazingly disciplined in the way they play. They play as a team and they interchange so well that. But for me, I feel like the Man United 2021 season, they should have bought Grealish. Now the question is, how much would you buy Grealish for? Because he's British and there's obviously that British tax, and you can't play Jack Grealish in the same team with Bruno Fernandes, which becomes a bit of an issue. So Man United is scrapped. Arsenal, on the other hand, he could have fit in. He could play off of the left. Obviously, Saka would have moved generally to go to the right, and obviously now he can start to cut in. You obviously, now the question is, can he also play with Odegaard and stuff? I think it would make sense. Or you can go outside Europe and play for a team like Barcelona, maybe. But yeah, or Naples. But I feel like at City, he doesn't really allow himself to ball. Like, he doesn't really allow himself to play as him. He's mostly restricted to the things that he does. I mean, from the last prior 2 seasons, his dribbles have actually went down. He used to dribble in 2019-20 season. He had 2 dribbles, and in the 2020-21 season, he had 2.5 dribbles. And this last season, he had only 1.5 dribbles, which scares me. Grealish is being tackled even less, because in the 2019 season, he had 4.6 tackles per 90. In the 2020-21 season, he had 4.2 being marked, being fouled. And this last season, he had 2.1 fouls that were done across Europe. And even his goal attribute, and Grealish is not like the most scoring or most assisting type of a player, but then he used to get at least 8 or 10 assists per season. Now he's reduced himself to go so far to say that in the Premier League he only has 3 in both categories, goals and assists, which scares me. Especially if you're bought for 100 million pounds, to be honest. That's kind of scary. So what is my take on him? Is he a flop in my case? Well, yeah, he is a flop. He's a massive flop. But at the same time, he's a flop not in his fault. Grealish needed to make that next move. At the time that he was bought, I think he was around 26, 25. He was at the age of, he is supposed to go to an elite team that will be fighting for titles. For titles. He couldn't stay at Aston Villa forever. You know what I mean? He's done everything for that team. He avoided them relegation for the most part. He got them promoted with the others. But then right now, he needed to go to the next team. Now, were they suitors for Grealish to buy him for 100 million pounds at the time? Well, no, they weren't. The only team that actually were able and financially there to do it is probably PSG or Manchester City. He's not going to Manchester City because he's an English player. Now, would he fit in at Liverpool? Yeah, probably. I mean, Liverpool right now are playing Harvey Elliott and Cavaro as midfielders, so which means that technically he could play in those roles. But Liverpool are not going to throw 100 million for Grealish. Let's be honest, they're not going to do that. They will put it on Darwin Núñez, to be fair. But with all fairness, I feel like Grealish had to make this move. It made sense. He's going to be winning trophies. He already has started winning trophies. He already has a Premier League medal. But at the same time, when you look at it, Grealish looks like he's just a drunk that is just there for the vibes. I feel sad when I hear him saying that.
The reason why Pep bought me is because I passed Kyle Walker.
Dude. No, Grealish, no. You get what I mean? It's so sad that he has become this. That's sad. But then, that's how it is. I do believe that he's a flop. A major one. But I don't think it's his fault. with a lot of players. He had to make the right step. He had to make that next step in his career, and that next step was at City. But right now, I don't see Grealish outperforming even Madison in terms of like contribution wise. Well, Madison will obviously have a lower, but the way he'll be playing will be way more satisfying than the way Grealish is and stuff. And yeah,